We are listening to some Scottish music on Pandora. I just got back from Scotland and I want to introduce this amazing dish that I had in the Highlands. In the Highlands, it's just absolutely beautiful. If you ever go to Scotland, you must go to this beautiful place called the Highlands. And what I have here is a traditional Scottish broth. It's more than a broth, it's more like a stew, and it takes a long time to cook. Traditionally, it's made with lamb or beef and barley and all these amazing, delicious vegetables that is grown in the region. So what I have here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my beautiful big pan. Make sure that you have a nice, it could be cast iron, it could be however you want it. And what I want to do is I want to put it on high here, because what I'm going to start this with a 2 tablespoons of very good lard or butter. In my case, I am using butter. And I have 2 tablespoons here that I am going to slowly melt. That's all I have here. Then what I'm going to do is I have a medium diced onion. I have 3 cloves of garlic. I have 1 medium leek that I am going to be cooking slowly in here. So let me bring this down. So I don't want it to be burning. I just want it to just have my butter melting, which it is right now. And what I want to do next is that I want to add my leeks right in here. Remember, 1 medium leek. I'm going to walk you step by step to this amazing dish. And I want to thank my friend Claire from the Highlands. And I know she's watching. Hello, beautiful. And thank you so much for the recipe. And I hope that I do your recipe proud. So here goes 1 medium onion. Remember, 1 medium leek. And now I have 3 tablespoons, or not 3 tablespoons, 3 garlic cloves. Then I'm just going to smash right here. They don't take off running. And I am just going to dice this. It doesn't have to be fine. It doesn't have to be perfect because nobody's going to see anything. Hello, good morning to all you beautiful people there. I see you. We are live here. And I am showing you how to make a traditional Scottish broth. Scotland it's absolutely beautiful, and this is one dish that I really loved because it was very cold. It was cold and it was raining. As you can see, very, very, chopped just a little bit, not too much chopping. Make it simple. Here, let me turn this up a little bit more. And now I have it on 350 degrees. If you were to have one of these convectional things over here that I have. And what I want to do is I want this to coat, the onions, the garlic, and the wonderful, but with the butter. So again, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 medium diced onion, 3 cloves of garlic, and 1 medium leek, all chopped, all in here doing its thing. So what I'm going to do is to show you the rest of the ingredients. What I have here is 1 teaspoon of salt, and then the original recipe calls for 1 big carrot. I mean, their carrots over there are huge, and our carrots over here are not as big. So what I have here is that I have diced 3 beautiful carrots, and that's what I have here. And then I am going to be utilizing 1.5 pounds of lamb. Now what I am using is lamb shanks because I love to use lamb shanks. You can also use lamb shoulders. And that's what I have here is 1.5 pounds on this beautiful lamb. And here's the funny story. This lamb came from New Zealand, but it went from Scotland to New Zealand to United States. Yes, it made that journey. So I really have Scottish lamb right here. I couldn't believe it when my butcher told me that. So I always ask my butcher, where do our food come from? and where my vegetables come from. I want to know. So right now, like I said, right now I am just sauteing this at 350 degrees, which it would be like a medium high or medium low. I don't want it to burn. Let me continue to give you the ingredients. So we have 1.5 pounds of lamb shanks right here that I'm going to put in right now so I can brown it with the rest of my, and I'm going to get all the juices to this because I grew up eating lamb. If you have never had lamb, try it. It's amazing and delicious. Hello! It is really, really good. So what I want to do is I just want to get my lamb in there to start browning with everybody in there so they can start making their beautifulness, rendering all their flavors. And this soup or broth, or however you want to call it, is going to cook practically all day. They start it in the morning and they finish it around 4 o'clock. It's when they take the shanks, or you know, because you definitely want the bones in there to give it a good flavor. And then you take that out and you shred it, and then you put it back. And then it's served with crackers or bread or whatever it is that you want to serve it with. I am probably going to be serving it with oat crackers because that is the traditional way how they did it there. And I did bring me some from Scotland, but I also have the recipe that I cannot wait to show you how to make those crackers. So now that we have this, remember I have my carrots. I am going to be utilizing 1/2 cup of pearl barley that I have washed and dried that I have right here. I also have 1/3 cup of split peas. In my case, I'm not using peas. I am going to be utilizing whole grain lentils. I also have here is 3 bay leaves, and I have about a good 2 to 3 good sprigs of thyme that is going to be going also into this amazing dish. Then after that, I am going to be utilizing 6 cups of chicken broth. And I have made some chicken broth earlier. I usually put them in the freezer, so when I can make a soup or a broth, it's easy for me to just take it out of the freezer and utilize it. So I have 6 cups of that. I have 1 rutabaga that I have diced, 1 parsnip that I have diced, 1 turnip that I have diced. I also have 1/2 of a shredded cabbage. So if you buy a cabbage, 1/2 of that you shred. And I also going to utilize some parsley that is going to go in here. So this is a traditional, and actually this is made when it's nice and cold. And that day it was really cold and it was freezing, and it was the most delicious soup. And I had all these beautiful little bites of the lamb. And it was interesting because the lamb there does not taste as gamey as I have found here in the United States. So now that this is doing its thing, it's browned a little bit, and that's what I want. And I can smell the leeks, and I can smell the onions. Oh, and I can smell the garlic. Now I am going to come in with my carrots that I'm just going to add. Like I said, this is going to cook for hours. Right here, it's almost 11 a.m. At 3 to 4 p.m., I am going to take the lamb shanks out. I'm going to take all the meat out, and I'm going to put it back in. Yes, that is how this is going to work. So now that I have my carrots, very simple transaction, I'm going to go ahead and add my rutabaga. If I say it right, rutabaga, my turnips, my wonderful parsnips, and I would have turnips practically every single day that I was there. Yes, and it was delicious. They make this thing called, I'm not going to say it correctly. Please forgive me, all my Scottish friends out there, tarties and nips. So what the nips are, I believe what the nips are is potatoes, and the tarties are the rutabaga and all those wonderful deliciousness of all the wonderful root vegetables. Because, you know, root vegetables grow very well in the highlands. And what they do is they utilize whatever they have. So now what I'm going to do over here is that I'm going to get my 6 cups of broth. Now, you can use chicken broth, you can use beef broth. In my case, I don't want to use beef broth. I'm going to use chicken broth. Yes, chicken broth. Actually, my friend, Claire, she used chicken broth. And that's exactly what I am utilizing. So I'm done with that. Very simple transaction. You know, the thing is about this dish, you can get all of your vegetables done ahead of time and the next day put it all together. So now that I have this wonderfulness right in here, oh, it smells delicious. Now I want to come in and I want to add my salt, 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, I usually don't salt my stock. So what I'm going to do when it gets, you know, later, maybe about 4 o'clock, I'm going to taste it. And if I feel that it needs salt is when I will add the salt. Here goes my wonderful, just like this, my thyme goes in there. Here goes my 3 bay leaves. And I am also going to be adding my wonderful, you know, and one thing about barley, it really lands, not lands, maybe I'm not using the right word, it really goes wonderful with this dish. But what I'm going to do is I am going to cook this for 2 hours, and then I'm going to add my barley with my, either you're using a split peas, in my case lentil, and then I'm going to add my lentil. But I am going to go ahead and add my cabbage now because I like my cabbage to really just do its thing in there. But remember, we're just going to leave the lentil and the pearl barley to the side, and in 2 hours I'm going to add it. If you do not have time to do it in 2 hours, then put it all in there and it should be fine. It's not going to fall apart. So I want to use, and this is my beautiful parsley that I grow myself. And you know, I just thought it was just so nice of Claire to share with me this wonderful dish. Now, depending on the region and depending on whose home you go to, some may use beef, some may use lamb, some may use mutton, some would use other, you know, other vegetables, is whatever, you know, their harvest is. And I got to tell you this, that there are more lamb in Scotland than people. Everywhere I would go, there were fields and fields and fields and lambs. There were all kinds of lambs. There were white lambs, there were black lambs, there were white and black lambs, the most beautiful things. So now this right here, I have this, and I am going to cook this on a simmer. So I want to bring this up until it starts to boil. Once it starts to boil, I am going to cover it up, and I am going to, mine has got a hole there, but what I want to do is I'm just going to just leave it just, you know, for a little bit more steam to kind of, you know, let out. And I am going to put here 90 minutes. So I can remember that in 2 hours, if I'm correct, yes. No, actually it's 66 is 120. Okay, I will adjust that. In 2 hours, I'm going to come back and add the barley and also my lentil. If you don't want to use, if you want to keep it really traditional, is split green peas. But I wanted to make it a little bit. It's really healthy, but even more healthier. Now, another thing that they do in Scotland that my friend Claire told me is that if they want this to be even thicker, because they like theirs to be nice and thick, so when you're eating it, it's comfort food. I have here a pinhead oatmeal from Scotland that I was able to get. Now, you can also use regular oatmeal, but I would use the ones that have, you know, like a good, you know, harder grain. And then what they do is they will add a half a cup to a cup. And what they do is they do that an hour before it's done. So like again, you know, I cannot stress enough that this is a soup that you can just leave all day long. The more it cooks, the better it is, the more flavorful it is. And trust me, you're going to love this dish. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me in this beautiful adventure, the traditional Scottish broth. Ciao, ciao, bellies. Have a beautiful day and enjoy the Scottish music.